My name is Sarah, 29 years old, and for almost 4 years, I thought I'd found my perfect match. Tom wasn't one to chase luxury or show off riches. He was steady, reliable. A man who'd wake early on a Sunday to craft a towering stack of pancakes, who'd notice my car's brakes acting up and fix them before I could say a word. He made his living as a mechanic at a small-town garage, a job he'd held since he was 19. When we met, I was drawn to the quiet pride he carried in his work. He'd come home with hands smudged by oil, sharing stories of helping people get back on the road. Every neighbor knew him, greeted him warmly. His work was straightforward, heartfelt, and it brought him joy. But over time, my feelings changed. Maybe it was seeing my friends' partners shower them with extravagant gifts, or sweep them away on impulsive trips. Perhaps it was the endless scroll of social media, filled with couples in matching outfits, clinking glasses at chic rooftop bars. Or maybe it was just me, growing uneasy, yearning for more, convincing myself that love alone wasn't enough without the lifestyle I began to crave. At first, I pushed those thoughts down. I chided myself for being shallow, but doubts wormed their way in. About how his paycheck barely covered his share of our bills, about the vacations we couldn't take, about the wedding I wasn't sure we'd ever afford. I started dropping hints, subtle at first. Ever thought about working at a larger shop? I'd ask, or, you'd be great leading your own team. He'd just give me that soft smile and say, I'm happy where I am. It's good, honest work. It's enough for me. But his satisfaction started to wear on me. Contentment didn't feel like enough anymore. Contentment didn't pay for a nicer home, or fund a dream getaway overseas. One Friday night, we were sprawled on the couch, digging into takeout. I'd just hung up with a friend who couldn't stop gushing about her fiancé's latest surprise. Plane tickets to Italy, paired with a stay at a lavish hotel. As I set my phone down, my gaze swept over our tiny apartment, the worn sofa, the peeling paint on the windowsill, and something inside me snapped. Tom was in the middle of a story, laughing about some moment at the garage, but I was barely present, my mind cataloging everything we didn't have. Before I could hold it back, the words tumbled out. Your job's pointless and barely pays. You need to set your sights higher. The room went still. Tom didn't react visibly, didn't say a word at first. He just set his fork down on the coffee table, slow and deliberate. I thought you valued what I do, he said, his voice so soft it barely carried. Guilt churned in my stomach. I stumbled over myself to backtrack, insisting I didn't mean it like that I just wanted him to see his own potential. But the wound was open, my words cutting deep. He didn't shout or argue. He just finished his meal in silence, and said he was heading to bed early. The days after felt wrong. Tom still pecked my cheek before leaving for work, but it was stiff, detached. At night, I'd catch him on his laptop, quietly scrolling through job listings. He didn't share what he was looking at or ask for my thoughts. Part of me hoped I'd lit a spark in him, pushed him towards something more. But another part felt a creeping dread. The warmth in his gaze when he looked at me had faded. Our conversations grew short, polite, like we were strangers sharing a space, not lovers building a life together. A week after my thoughtless words, Tom came home from the garage earlier than usual. His face was etched with fatigue, but there was something else, a quiet determination I hadn't seen before. I quit today, he said, his voice even, no prelude. I couldn't keep going, not knowing you think it's meaningless. I opened my mouth to argue, to say I hadn't meant it that way, but he continued. I've been thinking, Sarah. Maybe this isn't just about my job. Maybe you don't respect who I am as I am. And if that's true, no new job will fix it. My chest tightened, panic surging. That's not true, I said. I love you. He met my eyes, calm but far away. Do you? Or do you love some idea of me that makes more money, checks off your boxes? I was stunned, unprepared for the quiet conviction in his tone. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his key to our apartment, and placed it gently on the table. I'm staying at my brother's for a while, he said. I need time. I think you do too. I stood frozen as he packed a small bag and walked out, the door closing softly behind him. That night, I sat alone on the couch, staring at the empty spot where his work boots used to rest. My mind drifted back to the first time I saw him in his grease-streaked uniform, laughing with his coworkers, so proud of the life he'd carved out fixing cars. I realized I'd taken that pride and crushed it with my own dissatisfaction. The next morning, I sent him a text. "I was wrong, Tom. I'm so sorry. Please come home." He didn't reply. Later that day he called, his voice steady but tinged with a new kind of distance. "I've thought about it, Sarah. I don't think we're right for each other anymore." And just like that, it was over. No shouting, no dramatic fight, just a quiet end that left me reeling, grasping at fragments. In the weeks that followed, I kept replaying that moment. The bite in my voice, the way his face fell when I spoke. I told myself I was only trying to encourage him to grow, but the truth was uglier. I'd measured his value by his paycheck, by what he could become, not who he was. I'd mistaken my own unease for his lack of drive. In doing so, I'd pushed away the one person who'd loved me without conditions. A month later, I walked by the garage where he used to work. A new mechanic stood in his spot, wiping his hands on a rag, chatting with a customer. For a brief moment, I imagined Tom there, looking up with that warm smile he used to keep just for me. But he was gone, and that moment was lost forever. I thought I was nudging him toward a brighter future. Instead, I drove him out of my life. Now the only thing more futile than his old job is my regret, wishing I could take back what I said.